What's going on, guys? It's your boy Abel here with All Things Sports, and today we have another awesome topic, something that I believe will truly epitomize itself once the league begins. The NFC East is going to be a dogfight this year. Now, when we look at each team to the NFC East, I really give three teams a real shot at coming out of the NFC East, possibly two. Now, that would be the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, and New York Giants. I'm not going to talk about the Washington Redskins because the Washington Redskins are a mess, and ever since RG3 got lit up by Haloti Ngata and then decided to play when his knee wasn't 100% and then ended up severely messing up his knee, their entire offensive scheme has gone out the window once teams realize that RG3 cannot do the read option and legitimately take it consistently on a game-in, game-out basis. So let's look at each team individually. Let's look at the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, of all the teams in this division, have one thing that truly defines them and is their strength virtually against every other team in the league, which is their offensive line. Their offensive line is dominant. It is phenomenal, and they improved it in the draft again. But the one thing about them that might be an Achilles heel is that I feel like the plug-in and run behind the offensive line does not apply to the degree that some people think it does. You lost the leading rusher in the NFL who fit their running style very, very well. DeMarco Murray wants contact. He wants to run over you, and that wears the defense out. That has to go up against a dominant offensive line. And losing a guy like that to an in-division rival, which we'll get to later, hurts. They get Greg Hardy, who's suspended for the first 4 games, and they also lost Rolando McClain, I think, for 4 games as well due to substance abuse. Maybe 2. I have to fact-check that later. But their defense actually improved last year due to the fact that they were running the ball so much, but it's still a weakness in their secondary. And that's something that if their running game isn't as efficient and they have to throw a little bit more, having really only, I understand Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley, as Cowboys fans, I can understand how you guys are upbeat about them, but beyond Des Bryant, I don't necessarily know that they're going to have the type of firepower in the receiving core to make up for DeMarco Murray leaving. And with their defense, I understand Greg Hardy might make the world of difference, but Greg Hardy is going to get the double teams, which means that people around Greg Hardy are going to have to take advantage of the fact that he's drawing the attention. Now, I give Dallas is going to be good. Dallas, again, has that offensive line that sets them apart from every other team in the league. But losing DeMarco Murray hurts. And people other than Des Bryant offensively are going to have to step up. If Joseph Randle can stay healthy, Joseph Randle averaged 6.7 yards per carry. Granted, that's on a 53-touch basis, but that's pretty ridiculous. So if he stays healthy, I don't think Darren McFadden is the answer there. But if he can stay healthy and give them quality first and second down running, that boy is ridiculous breakaway speed. He can be what C.J. Spiller should have been, even though Buffalo doesn't know how to run an offense for their life. But he can be a breakaway type of guy. And now let's move on to the New York Giants. The New York Giants offensively are going to be very dynamic if Victor Cruz stays healthy and Odell Beckham Jr.'s hamstring isn't that much of an issue, because the second Odell Beckham stepped on that field last year, he looked uncoverable. He was absolutely sensational, and Cowboy fans can also agree with this because that one-handed grab in the back of the end zone was ridiculous. That speaks to the level of talent that this guy brings. If Victor Cruz comes back healthy, Victor Cruz was a man that when he was healthy showed he could be a legitimate number 1 type receiver, and he plays out of the slot. So you got Beckham on one side, you got Cruz in the slot, and if you look at the Giants in terms of a 3-wide look, you would have a 6'4" Ruben Randle as the number 3, Victor Cruz in the slot, and Odell Beckham on the outside, and they just signed the best pass-catching running back in the league. All right, maybe not the best pass-catching running back in the league, but one of the best pass-catching running backs, a very dynamic running back in the backfield, and Shane Vereen. So if you look at 3-wide sets with Vereen in the backfield, coming out, leaking out for these short screens, that's a lot to cover. Now, their biggest weakness, which is Dallas' strength, which is a strength that every team in the league wishes they had, is the offensive line. The Giants went first round with Flowers, but they have to stabilize the offensive line, and Jason Pierre-Paul having a finger amputated hurts. And the secondary, Giants drafted 3 safeties. They lost Antrell Roll. That secondary is looking very vanilla. It's very fresh. It's very young. And in a passing league, that's going to hurt. But if that offense can remain healthy, they can figure out the offensive line, they're going to be extremely dynamic. And teams have shown that if you have a strong offense, you can remain competitive. But I would give Dallas a slight edge right now. But all of these teams, you got to see. You got to wait for the games to be played. And I'm a Giants fan, and I think this is going to be a very competitive year for the New York Giants if the defense is not as atrocious as I fear it might be. And finally, you got the Philadelphia Eagles. Chip Kelly has managed to lose LaShawn McCoy, Jeremy Maclin, and Deshaun Jackson in 2 years. That is an insane amount of offensive firepower. And yet when Jordan Matthews legitimately from week 9 on got real looks in terms of the offense, he looked sensational. And their first round pick this year, Nelson Aguilar, fits Chip Kelly's offensive scheme to the T. He is a very dynamic, speedy type of player. And the way the NFL has gone the last couple of years in terms of rookie wide receivers coming in and contributing immediately, you cannot exclude a first-round wide receiver that fits one of the most dynamic minds in terms of offense in the league I've seen. Chip Kelly, offensively, is extremely, extremely unique. His style is in of itself. I don't see any other coach, and I haven't seen any other coach in a very long time, build the type of offense that Chip Kelly is building. He just got the leading rusher come over from Dallas. The Philadelphia offensive line is good. It's not great like Dallas's is, but it's good. You add your first-round pick. You trade LaShawn McCoy. You get Kiko Alonso. When he was healthy, was a true playmaking linebacker. People didn't know Kiko Alonso because most people don't know defensive playmakers like Kiko Alonso off the top of their head. You really have to be a football junkie to understand the type of linebacker that Kiko Alonso was before he tore his ACL. But in terms of winning a Super Bowl, I do not feel like that style of football can win because I understand they got Byron Maxwell as well as a corner, but you can't put that much pressure on your defense by constantly shelling them out there. And if, God forbid, your offense gets stopped and it remains on the sideline, and let's say you run into a type of team like the Kansas City Chiefs that dominated the New England Patriots, they got stops, ran the ball, took up huge chunks of time, and left the team on the sideline. And if you keep an offense like that cold on the sideline and you keep putting pressure on a defense whose offense is legitimately going to cycle them back onto the field over and over and over and over, you're going to get tired, and I don't feel like that brand of football can win a championship. But in terms of winning the NFC East and in regular season football, when you play up against a host of teams, I can't count him out because they won 10 games last year and missed the playoffs. That just shows how good the NFC was. I can't count out the guy. I was very skeptical when he took over the Philadelphia Eagles, but offensively, they have been ridiculous. And he has gotten to handpick his roster, and for a guy that has built an offensive scheme to the degree that he has, and you've seen the success it's had to the degree that he has, I can't simply count out the Philadelphia Eagles. And they've improved on defense. So maybe if that defense cannot get tired and make stops and give it back to the offense, you might be fighting an uphill battle against the Philadelphia Eagles if you go down. And if that defense gets stops and keeps shuffling that offense back on the field. Because for as quickly as Philadelphia's defense can get tired, Philadelphia's offense can tire out the other team's defense. So it's a two-way street. And I would give the advantage to the team that wants to use that fast-paced style. But it's going to be competitive. It's going to be a dogfight. I don't even count the Washington Redskins this year, but I want to know what the Eagles fans think. Objectively, I understand. I'm a Giants fan, but I'm objectively looking at all 3 teams this year, and I think it's going to be a really competitive division. I want to know what the Eagles fans think. I want to know what my fellow Giants fans think. I want to know what the Cowboy fans think. So leave your comments down below. This is Abba with All Things Sports, and I'll see you guys later. Everyone have a good weekend.